Buongiorno, my friends. Welcome to the Tennis Lifestyle Podcast. I'm your host, Luca, and today I have a really great guest. I have an interview with Jens from stringforum.net. Jens is based in Germany, and he's the founder of the website. His website is amazing. I use it. I've been using it for many years. Any info on strings, stringing machines, rackets, and so on. It has a forum, discussions, interviews. It's the best site to get all your info and to find out more about materials and string setups and so on. He obviously has a huge knowledge in this sector. And we had a great discussion, not only about strings, but we also chatted about his personal life and did the quick quiz that you'll find in part 2 towards the end of the interview. So yeah, I hope you really enjoy it. It's worth listening to. And, we had so much to talk about. I think I will need another 2 or 3 episodes. And if you have any questions, please send me an email or go on Twitter. Gianluca Sola, Gluca. And also, I encourage you to go to stringforum.net. It's got an English version and it's got a German also website. Full of information. So sit back and enjoy. Ciao, ciao. Hello, Jens.
Hi, Luca.
Oh, hi. Can you hear me well?
Yes, I can hear you quite well.
Fantastic. Jens, thanks a lot for coming on my podcast. How are you doing today?
Oh, today, yeah, it's a nice day. I'm doing fine. Sunny day. And the
Great.
day just started so far. I'm feeling nice. How about you?
Yeah, no, good. I own a pizzeria, so I'm inside my office here, and so we might get a few interruptions. Don't worry about that. And a few fridges and noises, but also here is a fantastic day. We are in winter, beginning of winter in Cape Town, but it's a beautiful day today. Yeah, the reason I wanted to speak to you basically is I often make use of your website. You're the founder of stringforum.net, and it's a great website. I look at it often, and I play myself, and I've got kids who play, etc., etc. And one of the main reasons, I'll be honest, is that I play with a lot of friends my age. We're sort of late 40s. And at this age, when you play matches, you kind of try and want to have as many advantages as possible. And we always think that by changing strings and rackets, we're going to suddenly find something amazing that will help us to beat everyone. And the truth is, obviously, we all know that it's mostly got to do with our technique and that we can't move anymore. But we're still convinced that we will find a nice string or racket that will help us. So we're in that situation. So I use your website often to look at what's going on with strings and so on. But on a more serious note, you are the founder of stringforum.net. It's a platform for tennis players and stringers who string their own rackets and want to share their experiences with other players and stringers. You offer a lot of information about tennis strings, string machines, and racket stringing. You have interviews, user polls, reports, and it makes this site a very valuable place for anybody who's in tennis. So can you maybe just tell us a bit about yourself, how you started the website, you got you into tennis in the first place? A little brief background.
Sure. Thanks, Luca, for the introduction. Yeah, I mean, for myself, I founded the website actually almost 25 years ago. So end of the 90s, when the internet was still, let's say, in its infancy. I studied biology and had the chance to create a small web page, yeah, with some kilobytes of web space, so to say. I was thinking about what I could bring up to the internet, and actually at the same time, I was an active tennis player. Even before that, I was starting to look into tennis equipment and especially strings. There was one key event in my tennis life that made me do this step, because I was really angry on my local tennis shop, because I like most people, I used to take my rackets to the tennis shop to get them strung, and one day I brought my racket there, and I wanted to say something to the lady that took my racket and say, okay, I want these strings, and the answer was we will take care of it. Don't worry. Yeah. So so they didn't even let me choose the strings and the tension, and waited me to approach my daddy and say, hey, let's get a stringing machine. So I could string the rackets myself. And then the next thing was that the stringing machine was really, back then, not the most expensive one. It didn't come with a nice manual, and not even with any stringing instructions. And since it was in the 90s, there also was no information available on the web. Today you just go on YouTube and you learn by the videos how to string. So that was not possible back then. So
or on your website,
had to find myself.
Sorry, also your website, you give. I noticed you have the patterns and slides. Let's put it that way, on how to string all the different rackets.
Yes, exactly. So that was the first thing that I then. So after this frustration, so no information available, I had to learn everything on my own. Of course, I also spoke to other people to exchange information to my friends that were in the tennis club and so on, and I learned the hard way. And the first thing that I did, actually, when I was able to put something on the internet, was to provide this stringing guide for other people. Today it may seem a bit outdated, but that's fine. Yeah. So for me, this was the starting point, and then I added some more of my experiences, that I made during my journey through the different testing of strings and so on. That, because once I had the stringing machine, I was just testing a lot of different strings, and that's.
Were you quite a good player? Were you quite a good tennis player? Would you say?
No, I wouldn't really say no. That let's say a low-level competition player, but never got to the point of winning any tournament and so on. So that was not the case.
So you were just passionate about tennis and strings,
Yes, absolutely, yeah. So so that's how it started. And then, I mean, in the beginning of the internet, it was just, for most of people, it was read only. Yeah, there was no thing like social media and no communities. But from the emails I received every day, I noticed that there is potential of fostering the exchange of experience among the different equipment enthusiasts, I would call them. Yeah. So
Okay.
so I enabled more and more features on my website to also have a possibility for people to post their own experience and share them with the rest of the world.
Yeah.
In the beginning, it was really technologically primitive. I received all of the submissions by email, then had to manually put them into HTML to put them on the web. And throughout the years, this is just, yeah, basically have been always my hobby. I improved the website so that it gets a bit more automatic and
Yeah.
easier for me. What I'm still doing actually is, so there's a German site and an international site. The international
Yeah.
one is stringforum.net. There's a German version. And what I'm doing is, because German people are, of course, posting their experiences in German, I'm translating those from the beginning. I
Okay.
was translating between English and German, so that reviews from US, from Australia, wherever,
Yes.
they were
Yeah.
also visible for the German users, and vice versa.
Do you also have a Dutch version, or did I see that?
Yes, that's no. The Dutch
Uh,
version is something special, because it's just
okay.
static content plus the discussion board. Yeah, so
Okay.
there's a specific section on the discussion board where Dutch people can exchange in their own language.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
and
It's
yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to say it's an excellent setup, because for someone, he can just go on your on your website and on the forum, and it tells you who's reviewing the string, the nationality, sort of what type of player he is, what surface he plays on, what racket he uses. I mean, it's a very, very in-depth um, analysis of the string he's using, what balls he played with, the tension, what's the string, the conditions, and then he gives, obviously, you can give your review, what's the tension stability, how does it feel, the power, etc., etc. So I just find it very well set up and very useful tool. So yeah, no, thanks for giving us that.
Yeah, I'm happy to hear that. It's useful. Yeah, I'm just
Yeah,
trying to gather as much information as possible, because what we are talking about is player reviews of strings, and of course it's quite dependent on a lot of parameters. Yeah, so what the
yeah,
impression of the player is, because if you're using old balls used, yeah, like balls that are have almost no pressure anymore, or you may attribute that to the strings, or if you play in hot conditions versus the next day it's rather cold, um,
yeah,
you could then tend to also blame it on the strings. But so it's very
yeah,
hard to have all of the testers really stick to the same environments or conditions. Yeah, of course, if everyone used the same balls and the
yeah,
same temperature and same brackets, it would be more easy.
yeah,
But no,
exactly.
this is a very
Yeah,
important fact. And actually, you mentioned before um, the, the psychological effect. It's very
yeah,
important, because in the end, your equipment gives you it gives you confidence, and
mm-hmm.
if you feel confident, you're more successful in the end. So
Yeah,
the goal is to have a look into how people perceive the strings and the strings performance. It's not more because on the other hand, you can do technical measurements, physical measurements on the strings, and then that's fine. I'm not actually I'm a big fan of that, because it's really the most objective way how you can evaluate material. But on the other hand, what's important is also how the strings behave when they are strung in the racket, on the court. Players hitting with spin or hitting flat, all that taking into account, and then gathering a lot of different opinions can give you some trend, at least.
That's right.
Some differences between strings that are more durable than others, or that provide more power than others, and so on.
Yeah, no, fantastic. I mean, I think what you're saying, and I agree completely with what you say, is it's such a, well, two things. One, people, sort of your average maybe player might think strings are just strings and it's just about the tension and so on. And the other thing is that tennis is such an individual sport that there's so many elements to take into consideration. So, I mean, it's a subject, strings, that it touches so many points, and there's so many topics to talk about. It's not as easy as just saying, well, this string is made out of this and you put this tension and it will give you this. But just going back for your average listener, strings, would it be correct to say you've got two groups? You've got natural gut and you've got synthetic strings. And in the synthetic strings, the most common is probably your polyester, your poly. Then you've got, monofilament and multifilament, which is made out of many strings. You've got your textured strings, and then you've got maybe some other more less used strings like your titanium. Would that be correct, more or less?
Yeah, that's quite nice, nicely put. So for me, of course, the biggest difference is between natural gut and synthetic. That's correct. And even today, still no synthetic string can match the liveliness and the resilience of a natural gut string. That's for sure.
Why is that? With all the technology we have, why can't they replicate that?
Yeah, it's a biological product in the end. Yeah, so I mean, you can always produce something that resembles natural gut, but you cannot produce it from the same material. And the synthetic materials, that's basically plastic, as you may call it. It has some disadvantages, because it's there's always some permanent stretch, very little, but every time you stretch the string, there's a little bit of permanent stretch, so it gets longer and longer over time. It doesn't completely go back into its original state after being stretched. So that's a common disadvantage of the synthetic strings, and then there's different materials and there's different constructions. You mentioned polys. Yeah, so poly is basically, polyester is a material, and you can do either monofilaments, which is the most common construction these days. It's just one strand of that material, and multifilaments consist of many. There's no definition how many there should be, but many filaments of different materials that can be combined into one string. Also here, nylon, for example, being one of the most commonly used materials, but there's a lot of engineering in these kinds of strings with all the different constructions. So one of the things that I've found fascinating is once I bought a microscope, and I produced cross-section photographs of tennis strings, and basically you could look inside how the string was constructed.
I think I saw that. Do you have them on your website as well?
Yes,
some pictures of that.
It's in the string gallery. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. Very interesting. Yeah.
So there you can really see how different strings can be constructed, and even monofilaments. I mean, in the beginning they were all round. I think maybe Kirschbaum was the first company to provide a rough version of a monofilament, and then this has evolved to right now. I think more polyester strings are shaped than round. It's amazing. So you have all different kinds of shapes. Pentagonal, hexagonal.
To get the most of it is, correct me if I'm wrong, is shaped so apparently they grip the ball better and produce more spin.
Yeah, that's the intended effect of that shaping. It could also be a marketing effect, because I mean, if you look deeper into that, the thing is, the spin does not really only come from the strings grabbing the ball. The strings also have to be able to slide back into their original position, which is called the snapback effect. And so that the string's surface is actually maybe even more important than the string's shape, that makes the strings grip the ball a bit better.
Okay. Yeah, no, well, there's so much to talk about. And then obviously there's the diameter of the string. Some are thicker, some are thinner. Then there is the tension, which is a whole nother topic as well. More tension, less tension. I mean, we could go into that as well. Well, to put it very quickly, the diameter of a string, usually, let's say that the thinner, the more the more maybe spin you generate, and the more it's more elastic maybe, and the thicker it's more compact, and maybe it's better for control. I don't know. Would you agree with that, or what would you say?
So normally thinner strings, as you put it, are perceived to bite the ball better, so to be able to produce more spin. Of course, the thinner also means the less durability you can expect from the strings.
Yes.
I think one common misperception is that thinner strings are more comfortable, which is actually not the case. It's actually that thicker strings typically are perceived as more comfortable because there's more material that can stretch and actually buffer the shock. So it's not that easy to say. It's always the case that thinner strings and thicker strings have different properties. It's also dependent on the material. If you have very stiff material, then it may be better to use a thinner string. But so you cannot say it in general.
I've got a whole lot of questions, Jens. One other thing is, would you say, I mean, what's your opinion? Would you say that strings and string setup today is more important probably than what racket you play with, or at least just as important?
I would rate it as just as important. I would not say strings are more important, because also in the world of rackets, there are huge differences, starting with the weight, the swing weight, the head size, and so the quest that I was actually on was more on the string side, but I also tried different frames in my tennis life to find out that actually the weight is something that many people are not choosing properly, depending on their player level. So
yes,
that's quite important. And so I would say 50-50.
okay. I'm just going to throw you a lot of questions. I know I'm trying to cram it, but you know, I think I could probably talk to you hours. But what is the most popular sold string? Do you know?
The most popular one worldwide. It's
Yeah.
it's funny. No, I really don't know it actually.
Okay.
Because it's a very global question. So I know
Yeah.
from earlier days that the simple strings are typically selling the most. So in the beginning of the zeros years, it was the Prince Tournament nylon, which was just a very common nylon with a single wrap string. Many people may still know it. Yeah, now I think it shifted to polys, and
Okay.
yeah, there's so much variety. I'm really not sure how they are
There's
selling
lots.
globally.
Yeah. And how can you tell? What would you look at to see if a stringer has done a good job?
A good question, actually. So if you get your racket back from the stringer, I mean, first thing that you could look at would be if there are any weaving mistakes. You would see it by holding the racket so that you can look at the plane of the string bed to spot
Okay.
weaving mistakes. But I think more important is the knots. Yeah, so the security of the knots. Are they tied? Are they leaning towards the grommets and so on? It's yeah, as a general tip, if you find
Yeah.
knots that are not that are loose, it's not a good sign of the professionality
Yeah.
of the tennis racket stringer. And yeah, other than that, you cannot really control if the tension is right. Yeah, so it doesn't matter if you bring your racket to the same stringer all the time, because you will get, let's say, if you
Okay.
say I need 25 kilograms, then
Yeah.
it may be in real it will be 22, but it doesn't
Okay.
matter because it's always the same for you. And but
Yeah.
once you are
Yeah.
going to a different stringer, you may get a different result. So there's one thing. Sorry for the long answer for the simple
No, no.
question, but
Yeah.
there's one thing you can do if you want to really be yeah, very strict on your strings. What you can
Yeah.
measure is the dynamic tension of the string bed, which basically says how much pressure is needed to deflect the string bed for 1 centimeter.
Okay.
So typical range, let's say, is in the 30s. Yeah, so 35 kilogram per centimeter would be the unit to measure. And there's some, let's say, hardware, some tools you can use to measure this.
Okay.
They are quite expensive, but there's also a mobile app which
Okay.
goes by frequency, not by mechanics,
Oh,
but by frequency of the strings. And it's called Racket Tune, and it's free. So what you can do is to measure. So you basically you hit the strings with something like a screwdriver, and you record the sound. And if the sound, let's say, is the same Yeah, it's basically every time you take your racket from the stringer, you see at least it's the same result as last time, or the constant
Okay.
consistent drop.
Okay. Okay. And just another thing, do you, well, I'm just curious, how much on average does it cost nowadays in Germany to string a racket?
Honestly, I don't know.
Oh, really?
I
Oh,
haven't done that for a long time. And actually, I mean, the places where you can get your rackets strung are really
okay.
decreasing over time, and yeah, I wouldn't even know
Okay.
where to go. At least in the cities, typically, yeah, there's a few larger sports shops that offer this, but
Mm,
I have no
mm,
idea how much they charge currently.
mm. And what's the difference, and what do you think is better between having 2 knots or 4 knots? Um, if you can just explain that briefly.
So, considering that you are using the same string and not, let's say, not a hybrid combination, because if you use
Yeah,
two different strings and the mains and the
it,
crosses, of course, you need
it
4 knots.
four
But
knots. Yeah,
if you use the same string, so there, you also talk about a one-piece and two-piece stringing, which two-piece means you string the mains, tie off the mains, and then you string the crosses and tie them off. So you have,
yeah,
let's say, the tension between mains and crosses isolated a bit better, because if
yeah,
you use just one piece, you finish the mains, and then you use the end that you still have to string the crosses without tying a knot. So in
okay,
the end, I think it doesn't matter a lot, but theoretically, the more professional way would be to isolate the tension, to tie off the mains, and then also the crosses separately, so you have 4 knots. I would say, yeah,
instead of
that's
two.
the main difference.
Okay. And is there a string, this I'm curious, is there a string manufacturer that is doing right now very innovative work, that is very ahead of its time, or a manufacturer that is really surprising you? Is there something we should know, or that we should look out for, that is going to happen now, soon, or in the future?
Very interesting question. I mean, in terms of manufacturers, there are not. I mean, what you see is brands,
Yeah.
and manufacturers are much less in the world. So there are a few big ones, and they produce for different brands. In
Sorry,
terms
are
of
they mostly in China, these?
Um, there are some in China, Japan, also in Europe, Germany,
Okay.
Italy. There's one, at least in the US, which is
And,
Ashaway.
and they might be making strings for different brands. Am I correct? The same
Yes, definitely.
manufacturer.
You even don't know their names, because
Okay.
they're not visible to the
Yeah.
public. They're
Yeah.
just producing strings for the big brands or some small brands. So in terms of
Yeah.
innovation,
Yeah.
um, there used to be, I mean, so the Japanese producers, Toa or Toalson, for example, they used to be quite innovative. Also
Mm.
Gozen,
Yes.
but I think my favorite in terms of innovation would be ISO Speed from a brand. They have their own factory in Austria, and
Okay.
they are always like really putting a lot of engineering into their strings and the constructions, and also the
ISO
materials.
speed.
Yeah, ISO Speed. That's,
Okay.
I would say, yeah, I haven't seen that many real innovations in strings for the past years, to be honest, on the global perspective. I mean, a
Okay.
lot of different shapes popping up for monofilaments, quite popular, quadratic shapes,
Okay.
so 4 edges, but
Okay.
it's
You'd
it's
imagine
not.
those would snap quite quickly.
Yeah, well, not really, but
Okay.
they are, so in general, shaped strings have one disadvantage, is that they are more they're a bit stiffer, or they feel stiffer than round strings. But so a real breakthrough, um, I haven't seen. There's one
Okay.
material that is really very special, and that is
Yeah, I
for
wanted
the.
to ask you about materials. Even in
Mhm.
materials, yeah. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, so I mentioned nylon, I mentioned polyester. These have been there for a long time, and there's yeah, also polyurethane used in multifilaments and so on. So these are the classic materials, and then there's one special one. It's rather expensive, but it's called Zyex. That's a brand
Yeah.
name. The chemical name would be polyether ether ketone, or short PEEK. Um, so
Okay.
that's a really interesting material for tennis strings, because it's quite resilient. You can have monofilaments of it, or multifilaments with let's say a couple of strands. So if you have not tested a Zyx string yet, I would recommend to do it, because it's really something in the world of synthetic strings,
Okay. But
that
can
is
you
quite
already
amazing.
buy them? Are they already out there?
Yes, they have been for also there for a long time. Actually, it's not
Oh, okay.
something it's not something very new, but rather something that you don't see that frequently in tennis strings. Um, One of the producers that has specialized on that would be Ashaway, um,
Mm,
and also I think Toa or Toalson. They have some Zyx strings. Um, as I said,
okay.
they are rather expensive, um, but if you really are interested in trying as many different materials as possible, then you should not miss that one.
Okay. I must try that. Yeah. And maybe you can't answer this, I don't know, but in your opinion, if you have to take into consideration the price performance, ratio, the price and the performance of a string, what would you say is the best string out there?
Also a nice one. Let me think. So in general, from
Oh,
a
yeah.
from a perspective of the construction and the material, as a class, I would say polys in general provide the best price performance ratio, just because they can be produced and also sold at a rather low price. And the
Okay.
modern ones, they are still, yeah, I think acceptable from a user, from a playability point of view. To pick one, no, I wouldn't do that. I would say, for those who are
You can't
interested,
say a brand. You can't,
for
there's not a
for
brand
those,
in particular. Yeah.
yeah. But I also have a feature on stringforum.net, which is to be able to look for the strings with the best value, or the best price to performance ratio,
Mm,
because from the reviews that are posted there, and the price that strings are that are sold at, um, I calculate the ratio, and then you can actually sort by that ratio, so people can find out themselves. Actually, I'm also curious to
okay.
check that. Haven't checked that for a while. So everyone, I would just suggest everyone can
Go
look
and have
that
a
up.
look. Yeah,
Yeah.
I did look at that. Yeah, you're making me think of other questions here now, but yeah, it's good to have you so I can ask you. What do you think? I mean, I have one son, 16. He plays with a Yonex E-Zone 98, the blue one, the most recent one. And he uses the Yonex Poly Tour Pro, the 16L, I think. Do you think that's a good setup? Any suggestions there?
So yeah, also thanks for the question. I would be able to give you an answer if I saw your son playing.
Okay, how he plays.
Because
Okay,
yeah,
yeah,
that's a very important aspect. It's not just
yeah,
and I
yeah,
actually get this question a lot
exactly.
because
Yeah,
people think what string is the best fit for a certain frame, but actually the string and frame need to fit the player. That's the most important
yeah.
aspect.
Player and probably what surface he plays on, I guess. Maybe also that's into consideration.
A
Yeah,
little bit. Surface,
a little bit. Yeah,
you know, the difference between surfaces is how fast the game is, and
yeah.
if the string is exposed to, let's say, sand or clay particles
Okay.
versus
Well, he plays on fast on cement on fast surface hard courts, and he plays quite flat and big serve, big forehand, very little spin, but quite flattish.
okay, and
But yeah, I know it's a general question. But
strong physical condition.
yes, for his
Yeah.
age, yes. Yeah.
How old is he?
16.
16. Okay. Yeah. So I would not have an issue recommending the Polytour Pro. So I think that's fine. There's
Yeah.
no indication of arm problems, shoulder
No,
pain, or so. Then it's
no.
fine. Only
Okay.
for those, let's say, have not well, or people that don't have a good physical condition, they tend to feel some pain in the arm. I would strongly recommend not to use monofilaments or polyester strings. I would then rather recommend to switch to a hybrid or a pure
Yes.
multifilament or synthetic gut. But how you describe your son, I think the Polytour Pro is a good fit.
Yeah. The funny thing is we are getting to a stage, and he is at an age now. He plays near, most days actually, and he's getting to that stage where he's gone from a kid that hits softly to, somebody who's hitting quite powerfully now. And what I've realized, it's just happened in the last 4 or 5 months, is that I'm changing. He's snapping strings every week, and I'm like, this is costing me a fortune. So I've actually managed to find, but I'm not sure. I mean, he's still in between. He's still using the Yonex, but I've managed to find a Gamma Poly Z, which is very cheap. But I somehow find it. I've used it myself. An extremely soft string, but very nice. I don't know what's your if you know anything about that. What do you think?
Yeah, I haven't played that particular string myself. So in general, I would say if you are looking for a string that saves you money, it means you should not only look at how long it will last on the racket of your son, but also how consistently it plays. So that means it should not, let's say, lose its characteristics after 1 week, because then your son will not enjoy, even although it's not snapping, will not enjoy the second week of it. So it really, it's a trade-off, that you have to think about. Tension maintenance, and also the consistency of playability. If you're looking for a more durable string, and if you say, okay, let's keep the rhythm of restringing every week, but you're looking for some more affordable alternatives, yeah, then also I think it's worth looking at the reviews of the strings on forum.net. So you can find comparable strings. Sometimes people also submit with their review the name of comparable strings. So you see,
that's sort of exactly what I did, because I find it to play extremely similar. So he's still breaking them, but obviously it's a cheaper string. So, you know, it's helping us on that point of view.
Yeah.
But just on another thing, just talking about players, I don't know if you've ever had information or come into contact with them. I'm talking about like professional players or even club players. Have you got any interesting stories about people with their string setup? Or do you know any professional player that plays with a really, really strange or unique string setup?
In terms of professional players, I know that there are a few that string at very odd tensions. So either very high or really ridiculously low. But yeah, it's quite individual. I think from a club player perspective, I had one clubmate a couple of, let's say, well, it must be 15 years ago or so. He was a chronic string breaker. So so he was really desperate to get something durable. He was hitting very hard with a lot of spin, and he was breaking strings like every other day. So it was a sort of a challenge for me to find him the best solution, and because he was really a strong guy, big and strong, I did not have any objections to put him a combination of a polyester and a Kevlar string. So Kevlar is one of the most rigid filaments that you have out there, and it's also it's rare. It was more abundant back then because it has one big disadvantage. It's really hurting your arm. So I did not put a pure string bed of Kevlar, but a hybrid, and that was the only solution for him to at least survive a couple of more hours on his strings. So yeah, that's maybe one fun story, but you have that quite frequently. I mean, that people are breaking strings like hell, and I'm not saying that for everyone everyone should use Kevlar. I would really not recommend that, but you have to really be careful. And if you have the right type of player for it, it's fine.
And just one last thing as well. I hear this story often. I just want to hear what you think about it. But it's interesting, I think. In tennis, in history, there's been, you know, a lot of things that have, from an equipment point of view, changed the way tennis is played. You know, the obvious one is going from the wooden racket to a graphite and so on. But one of the most, probably still today, we can feel its effect is when Gustavo Kuerten, the Brazilian player, the Guga as he's known, he was one of the first big players, professional, who strung his racket using polyesters, Luxilon polyester. And many people attribute that to being a moment where tennis changed, because suddenly he was one of the first who could stay back and just play super aggressively with a ton of spin, take huge swings at the ball, and it would land in. And they say, you know, that sort of was the beginning of the end of serve and volley. And that's, you could look at it as a positive or a negative thing, but, you know, probably that string made the style of tennis change, and what we see today is a result of that. What do you think of that? Do you agree with that?
I absolutely agree with that. Yeah, it's it has changed the game, or yeah, the way how the tennis has evolved. Actually, Guga was definitely one of the first using a polyester monofilament, and then yeah, most of the clay court players actually switched. Yeah, so from, say, South America, the Spanish Spanish players, they also yeah, saw the advantages of using polyester strings, and it was okay for them because they had the physical condition. In the end, the whole market shifted, and also in the recreational space. From my
Yeah.
perspective, too many players adopted that change too, so they also switched to playing polys. Also because it was affordable, but also because of the pros yeah, celebrating that. So definitely it had changed the game a bit. Also the rackets, also the physical condition of the pros in general has still evolved over time. They are more professional.
A big impact.
Yeah, they are really practicing in the gym more than ever. So that also has an impact on the game. And then if you're able to hit that hard, it means you need some strings that are giving you back the control on the ball that you need. So in the end, I think people that hit hard, they need to use that type of string. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to control the ball. So yeah, and that's hand in hand evolution, so to say.
No, great. Very interesting. Also, just talking about that, there's a discussion about the tennis format. I don't want to go into it too much, but it's something that's popped up with this whole virus and everybody stopping playing, and you know, should they change it, make it quicker? And you know, you've got all these exhibitions going on, etc. What are your thoughts on that? Do you find that teenagers, children, are they still interested in tennis in Germany? Do they play it, or do they also watch it on TV? What do you think tennis must change a little bit, or are you happy with the way it is?
Yeah, I think the first problem that we need to solve is how to get kids motivated to play tennis. It's not that straightforward if you change the game. I think it's one aspect, but the other aspect is that they need idols. Yeah, they need to really players from their country who are stars, who are in the news, who are featured on TV. The entire TV coverage has declined. So there's a lot of aspects to that. And once you get kids to play tennis because they want to be like their idols, then I think it doesn't matter how the tennis rules are and how the game is played. Of course, it's dependent on the coaches, on the trainers who let's say convey that tennis is fun, and that's very important. So I was lucky to have coaches in my early days of tennis where it was fun to hit, and then the rest is just staying motivated, and then maybe entering the competitions for those characters who are really eager to win matches and so on. But in the early days, it's very important to is fun, and I think it's not necessarily only due to the fact that tennis matches are taking a long time. They are maybe boring to watch, for kids, because after 15 minutes there's not even a set being won. So I can see the point. Actually, there was a development where they shortened the sets, from 21 points to 11. Something like this, I think would have also a positive impact on tennis when it's featured on TV.
Okay.
Exactly, to have more things happening in a shorter time. I think that would be beneficial. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I mean, great. Jens, look, I'll go and move to the second part. I don't want to keep you all day here. The second part of my this chat with you is more personal, but you can keep it, you can say what you want, keep it short. You can elaborate, but it's just, I'm going to fire you a whole lot of questions on tennis, and you can say what you want. Obviously, I'd like to speak to you a lot longer about strings. Maybe we could actually do another chat another time. But if you're happy, I'm just going to fire you these questions now.
Okay.
What is your first memory of tennis? Very first
one. Collecting the balls when my daddy was playing.
Okay, so who influenced you? When did you get started? Was it your parents?
Yes, definitely my father. I used to help a bit when I was not playing, and then I really wanted to start playing too. And one of the best birthday presents I ever got was my first tennis racket. It was a cheap one, but nevertheless, I didn't mind. It was great to be able to start.
Do you currently still play, or how often, if you do?
Yeah, it's my time on the court has gotten rarer and rarer. I think due to mainly the business reasons, job reasons, but which made me actually make intermediate, let's say, tennis break. Since last year, I switched to table tennis actually. Just because it has better time and independence of weather and so on. But I'm also sure that I will start playing tennis again very soon, because it's still the main factor of tennis, which is also made me switch to tennis back then from table tennis, was the fact that you do it outside, and that's something that weighs a lot.
Appeals to you. And if you have to define what type of player you are, how would you describe yourself?
I would say aggressive baseliner with a tendency to approach the net. So not serve and volley. I'm 6'4", so 1 meter 94.
Okay, very cool.
So
okay.
So I'm more of the aggressive player style, but let's say not extreme spin, one-handed backhand. Yeah, that's how I would describe myself.
Did you have a tennis idol growing up?
Definitely, I have to say Boris Becker. I grew up when, so I remember watching TV when he first won Wimbledon, and yeah, I think he was the one who made me play tennis.
Okay. And currently, if you have to pick one of the big three, Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, do you have a preference?
Federer, definitely.
Federer. Any other player that really excites you right now?
Well, I'm following Alexander Zverev closely.
Zverev.
As
German, of course.
Yeah, of course. It's nice to have another German player who can compete, let's say at least in the top 10 level. And he's still young, and I love the young guys. Also, Tsitsipas is a really great player and really nice to watch him play.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Best match you have ever seen, can be on any level, pro or even.
There are so many Grand Slam matches that I recall. I think I won't forget. I don't know where it was actually when Pete Sampras played. I don't actually remember who. Maybe Agassi, where Pete Sampras had to vomit on the court. Do you remember?
Oh yes, yeah. I think it was when he found out his coach had passed away.
That was something. I think something else.
Yeah.
But that also historical match. But no, I think it was.
Oh no, it was something else. Yeah, another match. Yeah,
different match.
I think you're right.
So I remember that one. But yeah, there were also in the early days a lot of Boris Becker matches that really were on the edge, where it was just fascinating to watch.
Which is the best tournament in the world for you?
The best tournament, well, from what I'm hearing,
or your favorite?
My favorite. So it definitely would be one of the Grand Slams, that's for sure. If I had to pick one, it's not Wimbledon. I would pick Australian Open.
Okay, yeah, very nice. Do you have a favorite surface? Is it clay or hard court or?
Yeah, I mostly play on clay. That's the most common surface. Yeah, hard court. I would say it would not be my favorite. I like playing on hard court, but not for a long time. It's not that healthy to your joints and so on.
Yeah.
So yeah. So clay court. I would say clay court is the favorite one.
Do you have a tennis shoe that you would that you have had and you would pick it out as the best tennis shoe you ever had?
No, I would not really be able to pick one. Definitely, I've had shoes that were, let's say, no keepers, like shoes that were way too stiff. But I'm not that caring too much about shoes. If it fits and if it's light enough, it's fine.
Okay. This one's a nice one. What strings do you use and what tension? Or maybe you try so many that you've never had one. I don't know.
Actually, that's true. I really I'm always trying different ones. So I don't have a favorite or a go-to string.
Actually, sorry, let me rephrase that. Which string did you play with that for you personally, you just started playing and said, wow, this is amazing?
Definitely Natural Gut.
Okay.
That was this effect that you just described. Yeah, wow, amazing. I mean, if anyone hasn't tried Natural Gut, if you get the opportunity, but don't use a cheap Natural Gut. So there are ones. So I'm speaking about the brands like Pacific, Babolat, which provide the high quality stuff.
Okay. Do you have an all-time favorite racket?
Actually, no. I also I would be able to tell which is an all-time favorite. I used to play Babolat rackets, so the Pure Storm, or before even the VS Control. Then I switched to Head,
Okay.
and I'm using Head speed. But yeah, I haven't tried that many rackets, I must say. So it's hard to say which is my all-time favorite.
And do you have a favorite court that you've played on? A court that you've played on that really stands out?
I haven't got the chance to, let's say, travel or play tennis when traveling and trying different courts. So the courts that I've played on, there's no famous one among them. So nobody would really know. But I enjoyed playing on center courts, in quotes, that had actually, how do you call that? That had seats around.
Yes.
So maybe one or two times I had the possibility to play a match in that occasion, and of course that's just playing next.
And is there a tennis club that you've been to that just you think was amazing?
That I've been a member of?
No, that you've maybe even just played once or visited. Can be anywhere.
An amazing, yeah. I mean, the tournament that is carried out in Halle in Germany, which is on lawn court.
Yeah.
That's a really nice place. Also, I think for the players, from the location, the hotel is basically on the area where the players reside. So yeah, I think I would name that one.
Okay. Yeah, that looks like a nice tournament, a nice club. This is a funny one. If you have to book a restaurant and you can invite any free players you want, can be male, female, professional players of any time, also you can pick. Which restaurant would you book and which players would you invite to join you?
Wow. Okay. So type of restaurant, I would pick, I'll pick a Greek restaurant.
Okay.
And I would invite Andre Agassi.
Okay.
I would invite definitely Roger Federer.
Okay.
I would invite Tommy Haas.
Okay. Well, that's free.
And that's exactly, yeah. Okay, that's fine.
Okay. Well, well, let's say you can invite one extra person that evening. What you were saying?
Then Alexander Zverev.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. And any particular? Are you a big fan of Greek food?
Yes, definitely like Greek food. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Is there? Okay. Um, yeah. I think I've got more, but I think that's enough. Last two quick ones. Would you say do you that tennis? Would you describe it as probably one of the most difficult sports in the world?
Yeah, it is quite demanding. I think there are a lot more difficult sports, like, that have more demand on your agility, or how do you say, like thing, how, or
Hmm.
even, yeah, physically more demanding. But the combination in tennis is quite interesting, of, yeah, let's say, the physical aspect, but also the strategy, the strategical aspect,
Mm.
plus the, let's say, let's say, the capability of being focused over a long
Yeah.
period of time, relatively long period of time. I think that combination is makes tennis definitely one of the most demanding sports. Yeah.
Okay. Super tie break. It's 10 questions. You have to complete your perfect all-time player, male or female. So serve. Who would you pick for serve?
Ivo Karlovic.
Okay. Return.
Andre Agassi.
Forehand.
Federer.
Backhand.
Richard Gasquet.
Okay, nice one. Volley.
Stefan Edberg.
Okay, he's the number one there for many. Drop shot.
Um, hmm. Haven't seen that. Yeah, appearing a lot of times recently. I would say.
Yeah.
Oh, why not? Uh, my name, memory. Oh yeah, I would pick Nick Kyrgios for that.
Oh, okay, that's a good one. Yeah. Movement. Jens?
Now you're back. Yeah, you were not
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I
audible.
was saying movement.
Movement on the court. I would say um, Diego Schwartzman.
Okay. Mentality.
Rafa Nadal.
Yeah, everyone. That's the one that has never changed. Style. This one's a bit
Style,
style.
yes. Its style is Roger Federer.
Okay. And personality. Just somebody whose personality you think is the best on court.
Um, so the best from my point, or the most
Yeah.
interesting one?
Well,
Um,
yeah, well, both really. Like what combination of who's got the best personality on court, the one that appeals to you the most.
there I would pick Novak Djokovic.
Okay. Huh. Okay, very last thing, Jens. I really enjoyed this interview and this chat with you. And I end it with a strange question, but you can make what you want of it. Ask yourself a question, a tennis related question. Ask yourself a question and answer it.
Okay, let me think. Um,
Yeah.
um, it would definitely have to be something around the equipment. So the question would be, what materials will we use in tennis strings in 50 years from now?
Okay, that's a nice one.
And my answer would be the same, because if you imagine that typically one thing is hindering why we are not using different materials, which is the cost in development. So I think I could also say in 50 years, definitely there's, let's say, you're growing tennis strings in the lab with biological methods, to mimic natural gut. It could be, but no, I don't think that's realistic, because it would be way too expensive. And if I consider that players are also, well, required to be able to afford tennis strings, it means the materials will not change significantly the next decades.
Okay.
But yeah, that's my view.
Fantastic. Yeah, we've gone way past 1 hour. I really appreciate your time. I think there's a lot more to talk about, especially if you're into, like I am, strings and technology, racket, and so forth. Yeah, thanks for being on the podcast, on the show. It was great talking to you. And yeah, if you ever come to Cape Town, bring your rackets, and maybe you can give me some advice on the strings.
Thanks. I would really love to do that. Thanks for inviting me. It was really a pleasure to talk to you.
Yeah. Thanks, Jens. And yeah, and also everybody who's interested, please visit your his website, stringforum.net, and there is also the German version. I mean, as I said, it's a fantastic a pool of information for strings, rackets, and string machines. So thanks again, Jens. Have a nice day.
Thanks. You too. Bye, Luca.
Okay. Ciao, ciao.